So you, like everyone including myself, probably calls Lifestealer a he, but, contrary to common belief, Lifestealer is actually a they-them. And no, it's not because they're non-binary, it's because Lifestealer is actually two souls in one body. I will explain this in a second, but for simplicity's sake, I will be referring to the hero as a he. Lifestealer is a really interesting hero that I've wanted to do a video on for a long time, and he has been requested a lot, so it's finally time to unravel this mess. In the kingdom of Devarque, an Aglodi called Nyx got a life sentence in prison for theft. If you want to know more about the Aglodi race, I have a video about it listed in the top right corner. But basically we know Lifestealer is an Aglodi because of a voice line from Bristleback.
The Aglodi? They don't die easy, I will give them that.
Anyways, in order for Nyx's punishment to be extra horrible, the Vile Council had put a longevity spell on him, so when the cruel nobles of the kingdom tormented him, he couldn't even escape by dying of old age. Time and torture had broken Nyx's sanity over the years, to the point where even though his shackles had corroded away a long time ago, he didn't even long for escape anymore. He had completely forgotten who he was and how he even got there. At this point, it would probably be worth asking what's the point in punishing someone who doesn't even know what they even did wrong, but the nobles of Devarque doesn't seem like the reasonable kind. Sharing Nyx's cell was a vengeful wizard hellbent on escape. While plotting and scheming, he came up with a plan to control the creature in his cell and with magic force it to go berserk and sacrifice itself. The wizard would infest its mind, and then when the coast was cleared during the chaos, he would slip back out to his own body and leave unnoticed. But as soon as the wizard cast a spell of Infestation entering Nyx's body, instead of finding an easy, dull, feeble and impressionable mind to compel to do his bidding, he was instead thrown into a chaotic mess of endless insanity and impossible madness, so powerful and chaotic that his own mind shattered. This caused Nyx to all of a sudden wake up from his endless nightmare, and he was forced to listen to the commands of the new consciousness and master sharing his vessel. This new creature of symbiosis was Lifestealer, and he could only focus on one thing: to escape. The Nyx part of Lifestealer forced its way through with violence, obeying its new master, and the wizard within let Lifestealer infest the guards and other people it saw fit, feeding on their lives while easily escaping. This would be a pretty straightforward story about a pretty cool character if it wasn't for the last line in his bio. Two minds inhabit the single form, a nameless creature of malevolent cunning, and the master whose voice he pretends to obey. So, Nyx and the wizard share Nyx's body, the wizard being the master and Nyx pretending to follow his orders. Now, why would he pretend to obey? Why not either obey willingly or just not obey at all? Nyx seems to be the one actually controlling the body and the wizard can only give orders. If he pretends to do his bidding, why doesn't he just not?
Learn to be your own life's master, lest ye be ruled by evil servitude.
Lifestealer is a very interesting character who is obsessed with escaping, not being a prisoner, and becoming his own master. You have probably already figured out that what he really is trying to escape is the wizard, aka his master controlling him. He wants to try and gain freedom of will. Mars asks Lifestealer this:
Do you even know why we fight, creature?
And actually, I think he does. As an extension of his master controlling him, you could argue that fighting the Battle of the Ancients is the only way he can escape their influence. So while he's there for more personal obsessions, it's still in essence the same. It's about ending one or the other ancient in order to be free. One interesting, or to be honest, disappointing thing about Lifestealer is that no one really cares about him. He has no clear enemies or friends, not even the fellow Aglodi or wizards give a shit. So there's not much to his relationships. Some have puns about life-stealing, and many just in general want to stay away from him and his grotesque body. His cosmetics too don't really expand his story much. The only hero who seems to at all care about him, other than wanting to end his misery by killing him, is Omni-Knight.
Lifestealer, I will find what did this to you.
Although he says it after killing him, it's still heartwarming that someone actually cares. So there's not much more to Lifestealer. He, or I mean they, are a pitiful creature broken into obsessing over escape and liberation at any cost. I don't think Valve intended it, but you could argue that there is some philosophy or deeper meaning behind it. Nyx getting imprisoned is birth. If you're an anti-natalist or nihilist or both, life itself can be viewed as a prison. While he initially had free will and a mind of his own, as time went by, society molded him into a mindless vessel that didn't even know who he was or that he was imprisoned to begin with. And then, with a little imagination, the wizard infesting him and becoming his master is maybe a symbol of rebellious thoughts. But they get twisted by the experiences and lessons that society has forced upon X, resulting in his rebellion taking over his entire identity to the point of referring to the source as master. Another thing about Lifestealer worth at least giving a thought is how ridiculous punishment is when it comes to criminals. He was punished so harshly for so long he lost his mind. What's the point in continuing to torment him when he doesn't even know what he did or where he is? The point of imprisonment should be to rehabilitate, so the convict can return to society and participate in a fruitful manner, not just be permanently in discipline, or worse, get out after a harsh sentence and with bitterness return to crime again. It saddens me that Lifestealer has no particular friends or enemies, which is probably because his mind is so focused on liberation. It's also a bit disappointing that we get no backstory about who Nax was before he lost his mind, or who the wizard is and why he was vengeful. It would be cool if they capitalized on that in future cosmetics. But anyways, that's the video. Upcoming next is another comic reading, and then a video about potential future new heroes like the Puppet Master. Until then, peace.